The story of British rule in India began not with conquest, but with trade. In 1600, Queen Elizabeth I of England granted a royal charter to the East India Company, giving it exclusive rights to trade with the East Indies.
I hereby grant the East India Company the exclusive right to trade with the lands of the East, so that England may prosper from the riches of spices, silk, and gold.
This charter paved the way for the British to establish trading posts in India. At the time, India was not a unified nation, but a collection of kingdoms and princely states, ruled primarily by the Mughals in the north and various dynasties in the south. The British set up their first trading post in Surat in 1612, and later expanded to Bombay, Madras, and Calcutta. The British were not the only European power in India. The Portuguese, Dutch, and French had also established trading posts and sought control over India's lucrative trade routes. But through a combination of diplomacy and military strength, the British East India Company emerged victorious in several key battles.
We must drive out our competitors to monopolize the trade. We cannot let the French or Portuguese stand in our way.
While the British expanded their trade, India's mighty Mughal Empire began to decline after the death of Emperor Aurangzeb in 1707. The empire fractured as regional rulers gained more power, and the British saw an opportunity to exploit this political instability.
The empire is no longer as strong as it once was. May God protect it.
After Aurangzeb's death, we see regional leaders gaining autonomy, while the Mughal Empire weakens. In 1757, one of the most decisive moments in India's history occurred, the Battle of Plassey. The East India Company, led by Robert Clive, defeated Nawab Siraj-ud-Dowlah of Bengal. Clive bribed key allies of the Nawab, ensuring victory.
Mir Jafar has agreed to betray the Nawab. Once we win, he will be placed on the throne.
This victory gave the East India Company control over the rich province of Bengal and marked the beginning of British political dominance in India. After the Battle of Plassey, the British continued to expand their influence across India. They employed a combination of diplomacy, forming alliances with local rulers, and military conquest, defeating powerful rulers like Tipu Sultan of Mysore and the Marathas.
We must employ the Doctrine of Lapse to annex any princely state without a male heir.
The British steadily gained control over India through these methods. In 1857, Indian soldiers, peasants, and nobles united in a fierce uprising against British rule, known as the Indian Rebellion or Sepoy Mutiny. While the revolt was eventually crushed, it sent shockwaves through the British administration. The British Crown decided to take direct control of India, ending the East India Company's rule.
The company has failed to maintain order in India. It is time for the Crown to take direct control. I propose the Government of India Act. Henceforth, India will be governed by a viceroy on behalf of the Queen.
It is with great responsibility and respect that I take the title of Empress of India, for the benefit of both my subjects in Britain and in India.
British rule transformed India in profound ways. The British built railways, introduced English education, and modernized the administration. However, this came at a cost. Indian industries were stifled to benefit British merchants, and famines were worsened by British economic policies. The British Empire would rule India for nearly 200 years, leaving a lasting legacy of both development and exploitation, until India finally gained its independence in 1947.